Hello, everybody, and welcome to Crafting a Revolution, the podcast. My name is Katie Freeman, and I'm your host. I bring you brand new episodes every Wednesday and Friday, interviewing female and non-binary makers of all kinds from all over the world. Today's guest, excuse me, is DQ Flowers, and DQ lives in Florida and has been doing DIY and turning for just a little bit now. She's kind of new to the maker world, but she's really loving and growing and especially turning right now. So it was great to get to kind of talk with her and catch her at this very start. You know, so many of us, we've been making and woodworking for years now, and it's easy for us to forget what it was like at the very beginning and like using the tool for the very first time. So super excited to be able to share DQ's story with you. Before we hop on into the interview with her, though, I want to give a big shout out and thanks to the patrons over on Patreon. So thank you so much, Katie Thompson of Women in Woodworking, Kevin Lefty's Woodshop, Christy Twisted Twine, Jeremy Speece, Sammy Go Sammy Lee, Sven Door Size Workshop, Rachel Moody Makes, Bonnie Toolmom Bonnie, toolmomstore.com, Laura Oakley Soap Company, Mary Lou Made by Mary Lou, Brandy Studio Obey, Lee the Rainbow Carver, Ellen Little Bear Furniture, and Ethan Carter Designs. Thank you all so very much for your continued and ongoing support, helping me to produce 2 episodes a week every week. And if you want to get your name added to this list at the start of every episode, head on over to patreon.com/crafting revolution. All right, with no further ado, here is DQ Flowers. Well, I like to start by having my guests introduce themselves. So would you do that for me, please?
Okay, sure. My name is DQuinice, aka DQ, because it's just so much easier for everyone. I'm from Miami, born and raised here. Um, just brand new to this woodworking thing. And once I've discovered it, I've just fallen in love.
Awesome. Well, welcome to being brand new to this whole woodworking thing. Um, so, oh, I think you might have froze up on me.
I'm still here.
You're still here? Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay. Just had a slight freeze up there. All right. So my first question is kind of a big question, but I want to know your story. Like, you know, where'd you grow up to how did you get into this whole woodworking thing?
Okay, that's not too bad. Well, growing up in Miami, uh, mostly what I see down here is, the palm trees and everything. So didn't know anything about that stuff. Um, but growing up here, the only other place that I've lived is Tallahassee during my college years. And started in woodworking because of, I would say, mental health reasons. I was looking for a way to deal and cope with some things, and I was on leave from work, and I watched a video on YouTube of these I think they're called I guess kind of log cabins, these wood houses that were being built with like pure wood, 100% wood. And I thought, man, that is the coolest thing. I was like, man, because down here, I'm used to seeing the concrete and everything. So seeing this house in wood, I was just like, wait a minute, I need to see what else is out there? What else can you do with this wood? And I stumbled upon the maker community in YouTube, and that was it.
Rest is history, huh?
Yeah, that was it.
Was there like what were you into as a kid growing up in Miami?
Writing, photography, and definitely sports. Basketball is my first love. So
Okay.
yes. So
Okay.
Miami Heat lover. So
Mm-hmm.
anything Miami Heat, uh, yeah, just that was the extent of my creativity, just the writing and photography. And then I would play ball.
Okay. You would get along well with my wife then. She's big into basketball, and our daughter at 5 years old is already big into basketball.
Oh,
So
that's awesome. Oh, that is just an awesome age to start out.
yep. Once she's excited because of things opening back up. She can't wait to
Hmm.
go. We live in a university town, so we've got the University of Iowa, the Hawkeyes. So she's like, I can't wait to go see the Hawkeyes play basketball.
Yes. Yes. Tell her, look, I'm waiting. Next season I will definitely be at a Heat game.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely.
Yep. Okay. So writing, photography, a little bit, then getting into the kind of the creative side.
Hmm.
What you go into in college?
In college, computer information,
Okay.
originally, and then business management. So I work in like personnel type human
Mm.
resources now. Um, so not a lot of creativity there. It's not a lot of
Well,
not a lot of.
creatively managing people, maybe sometimes.
I like that. I'm definitely going to use that. I like that, creatively managing people. Yes.
That's right. Um, okay. I mean, did you keep writing? Did you keep doing photography? As you grew up.
Yes, definitely. I would say yes. Just probably in the last 5 years, not so much. Life
Mm-hmm.
gets kind of
Mm-hmm.
busy.
Mm-hmm.
We work and start doing other things and kind of get away from that stuff. So, not in the last 5 years, but definitely throughout childhood, throughout college years and things like that. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um. So I want to learn more. I want to hear more about discovering YouTube, the maker community on YouTube. Who were some of your first discoveries?
Oh man, it's so many of them that I love. I hope I don't forget anyone, because honestly, I just think like the whole maker community is amazing. The creativity, the fact that you can think about something and then just bring it into real life, is awesome to me. Um, like wood turning is probably my favorite
Mm,
right now, though. That's probably my
mm-hmm.
favorite thing. That is um, therapy. That is
Yeah.
just pure therapeutic to me. But the first people I discovered, probably the woodworking for mere mortals.
Mm-hmm.
I stumbled on that first. Um, you have Modern Bills, Homemade Modern.
Yep.
Trying to remember all these channel names.
You're good.
Uh, Jonathan Katz Moses.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
who else we got that's on my regular lineup? Uh, Mr. Build It. Oh, Tamar. Can't forget Tamar.
Mm-hmm.
Tamar is like wizardry that just allows her to come up with these crafty jigs that she
I
creates.
know. I know her
Um,
jig making is insane.
yes, but it's so many more of them, and I know that I'm leaving them all out there.
My next question is, you're watching all of these YouTube makers. What's the first project that you tackle?
My workbench.
Okay.
My workbench.
Was there a
That
particular
was that was my first.
was there a particular like, did you follow any one of those makers like plans, or did you do your own?
No, definitely did not do my own. I went with the BMW cart from Steve Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my workbench build. It is not square anywhere. Just so you know, it is not square. Um, the top had to be shimmed in multiple different places. and my shelves on the inside may have a little slant to them.
That's okay. Does stuff stay seated on them?
Yes,
Is the top, are you able to do work on the top?
definitely.
Then it's a perfect workbench.
But all those mishaps aside, I love my workbench.
Mm-hmm.
It's beat up, it's worn in. I love it.
Did you have to buy like a bunch of new tools to make your workbench?
Oh man, yes, definitely. I tried to borrow some of my dad's things and found out that if you've used a circular saw for about 20 years and have never changed the blade, it's probably not going to cut very well. So
Mm-mm.
that was my first lesson with the tools. Yeah, so the blade, this is not going to work. So I actually got a Ryobi kit for like $200 from Home Depot, and it had pretty much all the basics I needed: the drill, the driver, and the circular saw, the recip saw, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I uh, I was pretty good with that because I couldn't use the tools that I tried to borrow. That wasn't working, and I thought I was doing something wrong. I'm like, okay, it's not going through this plywood right. Am I doing it wrong? Yeah, no.
How'd you even like? Yeah, I mean, how'd you even know where to start troubleshooting that issue at? Of like, oh, it's because he hasn't changed the blade for 20 years.
No, because I asked him, I said, Dad, I'm trying to cut this plywood and it's just not cutting. And, I have it, up on the little sawhorse the right way and it's just not going. So he tells me, no, you have to put pressure behind it. You have to push. And I'm like, I don't think that's how that, yeah, but I don't think that's how it's supposed to go. I don't. So when I looked it up online, they were just like, make sure the blades are clean and everything. And I'm like, not only are these blade is not clean. You can't even see the where the little blade starts. It's like, yeah, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
So so yeah, as you can see, I'm coming from zero woodworking knowledge at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, no knowledge. That was the extent of it.
Well, I mean, okay. So then I have to ask this question. I mean, zero knowledge, zero like experience, but your first build is a workbench, which says I'm pretty serious about like I'm going to be making things.
Well, yes, and partially because I was afraid to cut or work on anything else because
Mm.
it's like, yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm going to mess up something. And I'd rather it be uh, a workbench before I mess up anything else.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Um, did you have much? I mean, picking the Ryobi set, I know plenty of folks start there. Did you do any research in that, or it was like, this is a good deal? I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going with that.
Unfortunately, I did my research after I made the purchase. I made the purchase because for $200, I was like, it comes with all of this. Okay, this is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really just how I chose that set.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, outside of the few new things that I've bought since then, for the most part, I still use those things. So it's
Yeah,
been a little over a year, so they've worked out well for me.
I've got a few Ryobi tools for sure. I love the impact driver. That's like my favorite, one of my favorite things to use. And I have experience in like with woodworking, but I didn't even know that a tool called an impact driver existed until about 3 years ago at my first workbench con conference, and like Ryobi was one of the people there, and they had, all their tools and you could try them out. And I tried them out, and I tried the impact driver out, and I'm like, I need this in my life. I need this in my life.
Okay. Okay. See,
Yeah.
so I don't feel so bad
No.
because I had no idea what that was. I called it the little drill. I didn't know what that was. I said, okay, cool. It comes with a big one and a little one. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, you shouldn't feel bad at all. I think, I mean, it's my go-to, especially using that with the pocket hole screws. Like it just makes your life so much
Yes.
easier, so
Yes.
much easier. Um, so yeah.
Yes. I did have to Google what it was for though. I did have to do that. But once I discovered what it was for, yeah,
Yep.
it's just been awesome.
Hey makers. So today's podcast episode is sponsored in part by Alicia Van Osdal, who is the owner of Basil Blue Design Company. Alicia is a maker of all things, really. Her focus is on beautiful craftsmanship through woodworking, repurposing, refinishing, art, and sculpture. Her background includes 30 years of graphic design, logos, and branding. If you have an idea or concept that and need a creative solution or graphic design, you can email Alicia directly at Alicia, and that is ALICIA at basilblue.com. Or you can visit her website at www.basilblue.com. And fun fact, Alicia actually designed the logo for Crafting a Revolution. So that is an example of the impeccable work you can expect if that is something you are in the market for. So be sure to look up Alicia again at her website, basilblue.com. All right, let's get back into the action. And I recently just bought their cordless nail gun. Um, and that's super handy too. It's heavy as all get
Mhm.
out, but it's it's really handy, especially since I don't want to go buy an air compressor for like, more of the standard nail gun type things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nail gun is something that I do actually have recycled from my dad. He had a brand new nail gun kit that was purchased for him, and he never used it.
Oh
It's
my
just
gosh.
been in the tool shed for like 10 years. And once I found it, I was like, oh, this is cool.
Mhm.
So I've been using that. I think it's a Campbell Hewson or something like that. I'm not sure the brand, but and then he had an old rusty air compressor that you cannot set the pressure. Um, but but I use that and it works. Luckily that one works. It just needed some, some little TLC
Yeah,
and that works out for me.
that's
That
good.
that works.
Yeah, if I didn't have to buy the whole air compressor just to get to use the tools and stuff too, then
Mhm.
um I probably would go with that, but yeah, I'm not generally somebody who uses a nail gun a lot, but I've had projects like I helped my kids' school build 12 bat houses, and that nail gun definitely came in handy with those.
Whoa.
and and then putting up barn
I'm
board,
sure.
yeah, putting up barn board paneling in what will be my podcast studio, like that. The nail gun helps immensely with
Mhm.
that.
Yes, yes. I'm sure that it does. I'm actually trying to get a cordless nail gun for that exact purpose. I have a bunch of pallet wood that I like to use as the paneling for a wall. And yeah, I definitely think cordless is the way to go for that one.
Yep,
So
yep.
that's on my list.
There you go. So, okay, so Workbench was the first project. What was the first project you built on that new Workbench?
What was the first? Oh, a shelf. A shelf. I built a shelf. I had all these new things that I didn't have really anywhere to put them, and I was collecting things all over the bench to where I couldn't work on the bench. So, uh, yeah, a shelf.
Okay. So I like the
So that
progression
was
here. You gotta have the workbench to
and
cut
also my
on.
first thing. Hmm.
Yep, yep, and then a shelf to put
Yes,
everything
and
on.
not trip over things all over
Yeah,
the floor.
yeah.
So yes,
Was there a point ever, or
see,
has there been
not
a
nothing too exciting. Nothing.
yeah? Was there a point ever that you're like, okay, I built my workbench, I built my shelf. Am I really sure about this whole woodworking thing?
No, actually, and you would definitely think that the workbench would have discouraged me, but once I saw it like done, even as out of square and slanted as it was, I was ready. I was ready to do something else. I was like, okay, what's the next thing? So and then once I built the shelf, I was like, okay, I need more stuff to put on it. So it kept and the shelf was a major victory for me because all of my cuts were even, which sounds like nothing, but I was having a lot of trouble with that with the workbench. So to have all of my parts and everything evened with just a circular saw, I was in complete celebration mode. So yeah, I was just like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. I'm definitely doing this.
I think that's definitely something worth celebrating. Especially since I mean that's only your second project, right? So you're like making big improvements
Yes.
from project one to project two.
Yes.
So
Yes. I didn't know anything about the speed square
mm,
for the circular saw to make the cut straight. So I was cutting freehand when I was doing those cuts. So that that was a pretty big deal for me to get
okay, so I'll
those
admit
cuts
something
straight.
else. I'll admit something else to you. I didn't know about the speed square circular saw trick until last year watching Izzy Swan do a bunch of stuff and going, "Oh, that is so quick and easy."
Okay. See, you're making me feel so much better about my start because when I think back, it's just comical to me.
Yeah, it's I think it's one of those things. I mean, it depends on how you learn, right? So
Mhm.
I learned maybe more formally like in a school setting, and I learned with like a miter saw, or chop saw. So that's how I always did my cuts. But that's like my miter saw is at my shop. What I have for tools, which is not currently at my house. So what I have for
Mhm.
tools at my house is I've got a circular saw, and I'm like, I'm not going to
Mhm.
keep running back and forth um, to the shop to make these cuts when I can do
Mhm.
them here. And so, yeah, my kids are fascinated with Izzy Swan, so we've watched quite a few of Izzy Swan's videos, and
Yes.
so I was watching him make stuff and do the speed square thing, and I'm like, okay, like to be honest, I was actually scared to use the circular saw because
Mhm.
it's pretty heavy and it's like one wrong
Mhm.
cut and it could be going into my leg instead of like
Mhm.
into something else.
Yes.
Um, so learning that speed square thing actually helped give me confidence of like, okay, I feel like I'm cutting straight and I can focus on like holding the speed square instead of focusing on
Mhm.
like this is gonna go into my leg if I don't do this right. Like
Yes.
so yes. Um, what are some of the other tools you said you've bought some new tools recently? Like, what are some of the tools you've picked up?
My most recent purchase, I just got a bandsaw. I haven't even put it in my workspace yet. Um, but I've tested it out already and I am just loving it. Um, I'm using it to cut some pin blanks.
Mm,
Um, so I've used it already for that purpose. and that was just butter. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Before that, I got a miter saw. Um, I got a recycled table saw. Um, what else did I buy?
And you have a lathe, right? Since you said you're doing
I think
turning.
that's it. Oh yes,
Yep.
yes, completely forgot about that. Yes, the lathe was my birthday gift to myself. Um, because I saw that on YouTube, of course, and I said, "Man, that looks like fun. I need to try that." And sure enough, all the other tools got put down when it came to my lathe. Um, it's, but you know what? It's that it's so quick
Mm-hmm.
to get started with it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you can get off work and just start something really quick, and I really enjoy that. Something I can do just after work,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't require just uh, too much setup for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think
Because
that's,
currently all my big things.
I would say, yeah, I think
Hmm.
that's what most people are drawn to with turning is most projects can be finished within just a couple of hours, and there's not like, you don't have to do a lot of pre-planning for it, right? It's, you can pretty much
Hmm.
check something up pretty quickly and have a
Yes,
finished project pretty quickly. So,
yes,
mm-hmm.
yes. I love it, and I can space out on the lathe and not have to worry about cutting my finger off or something if I'm not paying attention
Mm-hmm.
uh, on the table saw or something like that. So it's a good option for when you just want to just mind space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know I cut you off. You were talking about, so do you have some bigger projects you're also working on?
Oh no, no, no. I was saying that with my current setup, in order to use any of the big tools, I have to pull everything out. So, when you're coming home from work, it's just it's a bit much to kind of go through pulling everything out versus the lathe. I can work on it just right in place.
Mm-hmm. Is it like a tabletop lathe, or do you have like one of those bigger freestanding lathes?
I have the Delta benchtop lathe,
Mm-hmm.
and I got the stand that
Mm-hmm.
goes with it. So it's on a stand on its
Okay.
own. So if I would have if I would have thought about it longer before, I probably would have made my own. Um, but the stand has worked out so far.
Mm-hmm. There's some benefits in. I know there's plenty of makers out there who make all of their own shop furniture. I am not one of those makers who makes
Hmm.
all of her own shop furniture. I value my time in the shop to make things I want to make versus making shop furniture.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I get it.
Yeah.
And that was exactly my thought process. I was ready to get turning.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you had, I mean, you borrowed maybe at your own peril. You borrowed some of your dad's tools. Did you grow up with him
Hmm.
um, doing things around the house or making things out in the garage?
Uh, no, more maintenance work around the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just maintenance work. Um, we have dogs, so he builds, kennels and upkeeps,
Mm-hmm.
that for them. So that's pretty much the extent of his woodworking. Um, though he has expressed to me that everything that I'm doing now, he knows how to do and could have taught me how to do, but that is not true.
um, did you have anybody else like in your circle growing up that was doing anything similar to what you're doing now?
Not at all. Not at all. I've actually never even met anyone who's a maker of any sort in this type of uh, in this type of area, and I had to go on Instagram and just try to find female woodworkers, because I was like, is this something that I'm not supposed to be doing? Because I didn't see anyone
Mm-hmm.
uh, doing this, at least where I am. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely, I had to turn to Instagram to give me some, just to let me know, yeah, I'm not alone out here.
I did want to ask you, I guess, a little bit about that. I mean, you discovered the world of makers on YouTube, and even the ones you mentioned are all the kind of the big guy makers,
Hmm.
um, but not necessarily any of the. Not that there's many, but not any of the big female makers on
Hmm.
YouTube. So did you? It was just a matter of like you saw people on YouTube and then went to Instagram to say like, okay, are there women out there who are doing this?
Hmm. Yes, that's actually exactly what happened, because I kept finding all of the men.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, where are the women?
Right.
And I guess, with the YouTube algorithm, I guess I wouldn't get the suggestions,
Yeah, it's not going to
for,
serve you up like an
yeah.
Anna White or an April
Hmm.
Wilkerson or Anne of all
Hmm.
trades. Any of those is not going to probably serve those up to you.
Yes, I found them later though. I found them later. I found them later, and they're amongst my favorites. Anna White, definitely.
Hmm.
All of her plans. My first major build, actual build that I was giving to someone, was from Anna White plans.
Hmm.
So.
Yeah, she's definitely, uh, I'd say probably the biggest, um, the biggest influencer of women in the like learn on your own uh,
Mhm,
group, right?
mhm,
Those who didn't necessarily like go to school to do it, but those that have discovered it on their own. Um,
mhm.
and dang it, I haven't had her on the podcast yet. She's on my like I must get her someday.
Yes, definitely. She's cool to watch. She's cool to watch, and her build plans are just, a person like me can
Hmm.
just pick it up.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely think she gives a lot of women permission to even just try it, right? Um,
Mhm.
I want to ask specifically though,
Mhm.
when you went on Instagram looking for women, were you also trying to find women of color doing it?
Definitely, of course, definitely. And I found, I don't want to mess up her name, so I'm just going to use the Instagram name. But Wood and Maven,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
on Instagram. I
Char is one of my good friends. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
love her.
Mm-hmm.
I found her article on Highland woodworking, the
Yep.
women in woodworking.
Yep.
That article came up, and when I read it, yeah. So, and followed her on Instagram, and then once I did that, it started recommending all these other female woodworkers, and yeah, that's actually how I found all these amazing women. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely, I didn't find them at first on YouTube. It just wasn't coming up
Mm-hmm.
in the searches or the recommended videos or anything like that.
Yeah. Hey makers, today's episode is sponsored in part by toolmomstore.com. At toolmomstore.com, you can find any and all tool based merchandise for all genders, all sizes. They've got mugs, they've got shirts, all kinds of cool stuff. I have one of the shirts myself that has the hashtag woodworker on it. And I also have a couple of the mugs that define what and who is a tool chick. So, super excited with the merchandise that I have. I know that you will be satisfied as well. And also, great discount for those of you who listen to the podcast. At checkout, if you enter the code MAKERMOM, you will get a 20% discount off any of the merchandise that you buy. So that's just toolmomstore.com. All right, let's head back into the action.
So,
So,
but yeah.
so when you're like, I want to, I guess, kind of follow this train. So, even when you did your workbench, I mean, did you not do any woodworking until you were kind of like, okay, I found a group of women who do this. This is okay for me to do?
Uh, okay. It's totally out of order, but I did an impulse buy. I went and bought all the wood uh, for it. And then that's when I stopped and said, wait a minute, like, am I crazy? Like, it's who does this? So that's when I backtracked and said, hold on, wait, just let me think about this.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I hadn't bought tools yet. I was just planning on using whatever I could find around my
Mm-hmm.
dad's. Um, so that's when I said, okay, let me just look around online to see that I'm not crazy. There are, women that do this.
Have you
Because
had
also, mhm.
I was say, have you had any feedback from your like in real life circle of like, has anyone said, "Are you crazy for doing this?"
You know what? They haven't said, am I crazy? But they are definitely wondering, like, where did you get this from? Who told you? Who told you to do this? Like, where did you see this? I definitely get those reactions.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the pens. I have a lot of the little pens that I turn on the lathe because, you know,
Mm-hmm.
my God. And they're like, oh, where did you buy this from? Oh no, I turned it. You what? Yeah. So they're more looking like, okay, where did you get this from? Who told you to do this? Yeah.
do you think do you think them seeing you will spark any interest in your real life circle of friends and family?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. And just because I think a lot of them still feel like this is just extreme. This is just way out there. Um, I have a niece who, unfortunately, she's just like, you know, but you're a girl, like, you know, so which drives me nuts. So, um, yeah, I don't think a lot of them look at it like that, like they'll be getting the interest. But hopefully, once they get over, the why are you doing
Mm-hmm.
this? What made you do this part? Hopefully, once they cross that, then maybe it can spark some interest.
What is your response to them when they ask you the why?
I mean, it's kind of blunt, but most of the time, the answer that I give them is because I wanted to.
That's a good
That's
enough answer in anybody's book, I think. Yeah.
so it's not really the right answer, but I mean, I that's the best way that I can explain it to people because I wanted to, and I got nothing else,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the fact that I did it, it made me happy, and that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. Do you? I mean, do you think it's just is it gonna stay like just that kind of like meditative pastime for you, or do you see like wanting to turn it into a business at all?
It is definitely a therapeutic pastime for me. The only reason why I would even consider selling some things is because I just want cooler tools. It would just be a way for me to pay for. or tools. So nothing, too extreme, but just maybe in a way that it can kind of just fund itself
Mm-hmm.
because wood has gotten so expensive that
Yes.
it's turning more into a bill than a hobby.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
understand that. I definitely understand that.
so trying to get it a little more self-funded is more what I'd be open to. I don't know about a business though. Definitely because my skills are still pretty low. I'm still learning.
Well, and I mean, that's okay. And also, I mean, I think it's quicker for people to skill up on the lathe, um, than maybe some of the other stuff. But it's like once you kind of get pens down, then you can kind of go, okay, what's next? Like bowls
Mm-hmm.
or plates or um,
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of fun things there. And there's definitely like craft market space for that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Um, where is your shop space at?
My shop space currently is in a tool shed, a storage shed in my brother's backyard. So it was the only place that I could find that would keep my tools completely dry
Mm-hmm.
and out of the rain.
Yeah.
So, but I'm hoping to have a more improved workspace soon. I'm working towards that. But at the time, my goal was to have a place that everything can be, and stay out of in case we get a last minute hurricane or anything.
Yeah.
Just keep everything safe.
Um, I'm gonna send you in the direction of another female worker maker who's not far from you. You may already be following her. Um, Jessie of Built by Jessie. I don't know if
Yes,
yes,
yes.
she's
I follow her on Instagram. Yes.
yes. I actually just texted her and asked her how far away from Miami she is. She's about 50-minute drive. Um, so you can have another female maker to hang out with, and Jessie's super cool. Um,
Yes, from her post and the work that she does, definitely, she definitely seems very amazing.
yep. Um, right now, what's on your like horizon for where you're hoping to take this as you're getting further into this journey?
To be able to make a piece of furniture, interior furniture, usable furniture, I think that'd be awesome. Like to have furniture in my home that I've built,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that would just be dope.
Is there like a particular piece of furniture that you have like that you're thinking on already?
Uh, TV stand, dresser, some nightstands, just basically a whole set.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to deck my house out in in things that I built. I think that's definitely on my list of aspirations in woodworking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would definitely love nothing more than that.
Um, do you hope that? I mean, is there any? I guess like style of furniture you would want to get into specifically, like or I mean, even just like, do you see yourself staying with like lumber that you can pick up at like Home Depot, or do you see yourself trying to get into like hardwoods and stuff?
Definitely hardwoods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely hardwoods. I've made a couple of things so far. I've made a couple of end tables, a coffee table, um, some things like that with myrtle wood.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think I'm in love with hardwood now. Yeah.
I would
I
imagine. Do you make your pens out of hardwood? I would imagine you probably do.
mhm.
Hmm.
Yes, yes. I make those out of hardwood also. But yeah, definitely hardwood. That's the way to go. But of course, I mean, I had to start somewhere with
Hmm.
the wood from Home Depot. So
Oh yeah,
and that's
and
which I
it's more readily available too, right? Like it's easier. I mean, currently it's not readily available, but generally it's more readily available than hardwoods are, especially
yes,
in your part of the country.
yes, that I'm very glad you said that. Yes, that part,
Hmm.
that part, because I've been searching, but no, definitely that part.
Yeah, for some whatever reason, I'm not really sure why, but for whatever reason, Florida seems to be like a ghost town when it comes um, to having hardwoods. Maybe because I don't know if there's a ton that naturally grow in Florida.
No, no, it's not. It's mostly in Central Florida
Mm-hmm.
and more north than South Florida. So, and
Mm-hmm.
then the wood that we do get down here is way grossly overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
It's the it's almost just not worth it for the cost of getting it down here. Um, so yeah, it's not much down here. So I've been forced to just kind of look around online for things,
Mm-hmm.
but still totally worth it.
Yeah. Or you'll have to, instead of like an antiques roadshow, you'll have to like take like a hardwood lumbers road trip, up into.
I've considered it. I've definitely considered it.
Yeah. I don't think people realize, especially in the Midwest, how lucky we are that hardwoods
Hmm.
are readily available
Hmm.
and rather cheap, given, comparatively to other places in the country. I know when I lived in Southern California, purchasing hardwoods was like you might as well sign over your firstborn because it was excessively expensive.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. I've seen those prices.
Hmm.
I've seen the 30-inch boards. That's the cost of a mortgage payment.
Hmm. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, well, DQ, I'm looking at our time. So
Hmm.
I want to give people a chance, though, I want to give you the chance to let people know how they can find you and follow along, as you're really just getting started in this journey, but to follow along and see how you grow.
Definitely. I am on Instagram at Woodlake Drive. I'm definitely going to do better with posting more photos and videos on Instagram of this journey. I think I was just a little timid because some of my things are just on the more beginner side. But I'm definitely going to do better with posting more. So anyone can follow me at just at Woodlake Drive.
Awesome. And I'll include the link of that in the show notes. So it will make it super easy for people to find you. And I would just, yes, encourage you to post more because
Awesome.
you know what? In the future, 10 years down the line, you'll be able to look back and be like, well, that's where I started. It's your online portfolio.
Definitely. Definitely.
Well,
Definitely. But thank you so much.
yeah, thank you so much. All right. So, again, that was DQ Flowers, and I will include the link on how you can follow along with her over on Instagram in the description for today's episode. So, you can find that just on whatever podcast app you're listening on, or if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, you can find it over there as well in the description. So, if you like today's episode with DQ and any of the previous episodes, please, please, please remember to subscribe on your podcast app and head on over to iTunes, leave a 5-star review. That helps more people find out about the podcast and get to learn about these amazing makers. When I am not making podcast episodes, editing them, and getting to talk to super cool makers, you can find me designing and making furniture and other home decor over at freemanfurnishings.com and at Freeman Furnishings on pretty much all the social media platforms. Active pretty much daily over on TikTok and Instagram, though, so you can check that out. Currently, I am racing against the clock trying to get my garage reno done so that I can move my shop out of my rented shop space into my garage at home. So that's kind of what's on, stories and stuff right now. But still, I'm bringing you along for the exciting adventure. So you can check that out. All right. Well, it is halfway through the week. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week so far. And I will see you Friday with a brand new episode. And let's go craft a revolution. She, her, them, they got something they want to say. Solution for the